All right, let me do a little quick introduction of myself. We'll let stragglers come in where they be. I got you guys for an hour and what, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. So let's rock and roll. I will share my screen here with the PowerPoint. All right, you guys see the "Is Your Business Serving You?"
Mm-hmm.
Yay. All right. So this masterclass is called "Is Your Business Serving You?" My name is Lyndon Crow. I'm the president of Productive Learning. There's some names on here that I do not know, so I am going to assume that you also may not know me. And so I'll give you a little background. I studied psychology and religious studies in college. I was also, even further background, I was a unique blend of being a shy wallflower, athletically gifted, and a descendant of two entrepreneurs that started their own business. So couple that with today, I'm the husband to one of my employees. I'm the son to the previous business owner that I bought him out of. And I am father to a very cute 3-year-old who's now more often than not successful in her toilet training endeavors. Not always, but more often than not. I also have a dog. His name is Winston. He goes mountain biking and trail running with me. So there's a little bit about me. I am an open book. As many of you know, in the Conscious Leadership Circle or the workshops that I run. So you can ask me any kinds of questions. You can shoot them in the chat. I may or may not see them, so don't take offense if I don't see them, because I'm also trying to pay attention to you. So ask me about myself. Along the way, I will also give you some of my own examples. I give you some of this background that's not just based on productive learning. I give you some of this background based on just who I am as a person, because as much as what we are talking about in today is business, in my worldview, our business is a means to a holistic end. We're going to talk a lot about that. So my ideal outcome is that I have a healthy family that loves to be together, be in nature, doing physically active things, where I also get to personally do work that I want to and deliver these services and workshops that I want to, namely like our Conscious Leadership Circle, and also work with a team of hard workers that they enjoy collaborating and enjoy being fun and engaged with one another. It's part of what I am. That's part of what I seek to create. Some people think I've already got it. I definitely have a lot of it, and I continue to want to create more. So there's a little bit about me. Engage, ask questions along the way in the chat. And Jamie and Courtney are going to keep me prompted. A little bit on Jamie and Courtney, who are in one of those small squares with you. Jamie is on our marketing team. Courtney is our marketing director. They are both also clients of Productive Learning. They take workshops, so they get the inside scoop, and they come also from the outside. So they are a good resource for anything and everything, really. All right, so let's start off. Why did you become a business owner? This is where you've got to ask the question, I think, and get to remember the days when you decided to step into being a business owner and you said, I don't want to be employed by some other dude. So can you remember why? You can type this in the chat if you have your own personal idea. Was it you wanted to create flexibility and control? Did you want some kind of financial independence? Did you want to deploy your passions and your interests? Some people, such as my wife, would be a great example. There's a lot of things that she does simply for the purpose of personal growth and seeing how far she can take it. So maybe some of you said, heck, this looks like a really hard and challenging endeavor. Let's go do it. Whatever it is, who knows? Valerie, freedom to travel without having to take time off. Awesome. Very cool. Independence. All right, Al, I get it. Moira, accidental, just happened to become a business owner. I like it. Interesting. Wanted to determine when I want to work and who I want to work for. That's what I'm talking about. Independence. Ain't nobody going to tell me what I'm going to do. So keep those in mind as we go through this masterclass, because this is going to lead us to a deeper understanding of why we are currently in business. Because we say, why did you start and why did you decide to become a business owner? And I have this assumption that many of us forget why we started, and now we are dancing to a different tune. Okay, so how we're going to do this is, there is a sincere question that I have for all of you, is who is serving whom? The title of this masterclass is your business serving you? And that's a question that fumbled around in my mind for many years as I became owner. I was 50-50 partners with my dad for many years, and then I recently bought him out about 2 years ago to become the sole owner of Productive Learning. And the question of who is serving whom in this business relationship, me with the business, continued to be perplexing to me, because I grew up with comments and guidance like, be a servant leader, lead by example, be the change you want to see, dedicate yourself to the business, be the backbone of your operations. All of these, has anybody heard sayings like that? Does anybody subscribe to comments or phrases like that? I mean, it's a lot of these, I pulled these off of ChatGPT, which is my new favorite friend, of what are phrases and what are philosophies that people have when they become leaders of their business. So this is based off of the internet that says, here's the top reasons why people say that they want to become the leader of their business. I think that there is something inherently wrong in here. All of these phrases served me very well at some point in my career. But over the years, I began to feel that there was a certain weight that only seemed to get bigger as the years rolled on. The weight that I realized was that there was an underlying victimhood principle that, if not kept in check, is at the foundation of all of these phrases. Read the phrases again. Be the servant leader. Lead by example. Be the change you want to see. Dedicate yourself. Be the backbone of the operations. If I say that there is an inherent feeling of, there we go, now I can see you guys better. If there's an inherent feeling or undertone of victimhood, can you start to see it? This is where I think it becomes difficult for people to see. Because what it's saying is that the business is the end and you are the means. Do you follow? The funny part is some of you may not even hear it yet. You may still think that this equation seems appropriate. I serve my business. That is all over the place. Be a servant leader. That is all over the place. I need to serve my business. But then you wonder why you don't taste some of those delicious and yummy dreams you laid out from that previous slide about control and passion and growth and independence. You feel burdened by your business. The only way that you feel burdened by your business is because you've put yourself at the behest of the business as opposed to the business serving you. So let me ask you a different question in a metaphoric sense. Where does the burden of work lie in a restaurant? On the server or on the patron? On the server, right? They're the one having to represent the whole organization, represent the chef, represent the person that is trying to bring you the water and clean the floors and everything else, right? They are the one burdened by it. The business owner has the ability to be the one that is going to the restaurant, that is being served by their business. And it is only the business owner that has the ability to fully understand and create that. Everybody else becomes employed by the business. Can some of you imagine feeling like you are being served like you would in a restaurant with your business working for you? Does that feel too hard to believe? That may show you where you have a learning agenda and hurdles where you may need to do some work. Because if you feel like all you get to do is serve the business, that is like having the beautiful buffet of food that you created, you dish it out to all the patrons, and then you just hope that there is something left over for you. Don't get me wrong. There are great things that you get to feel when you become the servant leader. You get to be the noble business owner that makes sure that your clients are taken care of, that you make sure that your staff are taken care of, that everything is taken care of, and don't worry about me. I enjoy what I do. How many of you talk about, say to yourself and or others, I enjoy what I do. So I enjoy the fact that I get to work hard, right? I think there's a part of us that is lying to ourselves when we say that. I think we are trying to sell ourselves on why running a business can be and sometimes feels so stressful. Because we've decided to let everybody else be served and for us to hopefully get whatever scraps are left. But there's something else that I think you may want to notice, that when you are left with whatever scraps remain, you don't get to go and then do whatever it is that you want to do with the rest of your life, because you've got to serve the business to keep it going. You don't get to the gym and go work out. You don't get to do those things on Saturday and Sunday because you're just going to work just a little bit just to make sure you catch up on whatever you had over the week and make sure that you prep yourself for the week ahead. You work late into the evenings, and so you probably don't have the best of relationship with your spouse or your loved ones or go out as much as you often do because you got to work for the business. All of a sudden, you are giving up your life so that you can serve the business in hopes that once you give out all of the value to everybody else, all of your happy, loving, loyal clients, all of your happy, loving, loyal staff, hopefully there's something left. But what's left? There's not much more time in the week for you to go do what you want. And you're so stressed out, all you want to go do is sit in front of Netflix and watch it until it says, are you still watching? And you unfortunately say, yes, I am still watching. But you never get the reward that you are seeking because you continued to serve and you were in second place to the business. And I don't think that's what life is about. I think life is about living. I think it's about achieving and loving and striving and accomplishing, not suffering unnecessarily. Everybody follow? Cool? Yeah. Sometimes these webinars are so lame. You wish you could get murmurs from the crowd, like when you're in a real live thing, like, oh yeah, I get it. Now I just get people like Valerie just walking on a treadmill. There we go. Thank you. Whoever that was makes me feel like I'm not alone in this world.
Hey, so Lyndon, I'm murmuring back because there's a side of me that says, well, but there has to be a balance.
I think that's great. I do not disregard, and we're going to talk about how we actually create that balance. But there's a flipping on the head of the equation of how people look at themselves. There's this quote that I'm sure many of you have heard before. Steve Jobs did a commencement speech for Stanford back in 2005. He was talking about not living by other people's beliefs and dogmas, and instead living by your own intuition and having that guide. Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Now, he's talking about living other people's lives. I also think that if we look at our business like it's its own entity, we don't want to live the life for our business. We want our business to support us in living the life that we want. So I think he's onto something, Steve. I mean, he's kind of a smart guy, right? But I also think he misses the fact that some people, as in many of us, aren't sure what voice on the inside is their intuition and which one is their limiting beliefs. I think we listen, and we listen to the loudest voice. And unfortunately, many times the loudest voice is the one that is most in fear. It's the one that keeps us in the same routine and the same rut. And we say, that's our intuition. We shouldn't make that phone call. We shouldn't make that big leap. We shouldn't go and try to make that big strategic move because, and we can come up with brilliant rationalizations that outwit anybody else because we know our business better than anybody. And we call that our intuition and our gut. I think that is our fear. I think that is our limiting beliefs. So the question that I think Roger, he didn't pose it as a question, he posed it as a concept of what's the balance between those two? Do I serve my business or does my business serve me? I don't think we can answer that question if we don't realize the fears that we have that are actually influencing the way in which we view our business, because those fears are outweighing what our goals and dreams are and where we want to go. So we can, but we're trying to walk a straight line when we're drunk. It's not a good idea. We're intoxicated by our limiting beliefs. Make sense? No, it's whoever did that murmur, you can murmur again. There we go. Now we're talking. I was going to put quotes around this. Our business is the vehicle which brings the best chances of us creating and living the life of our dreams. Something that I wrote. I just saw a presentation last week where a guy quoted himself and put it on the PowerPoint. And I thought, wow, how self-centered and brilliant. Because then you sound like you're like somebody worth quoting. I've never thought of myself as somebody worth quoting. Anyway, side note, sorry. So I believe that the healthiest way for a person to view their business is this way. It is a vehicle that brings about the best chances of us creating the life of our dreams. Now, Roger, what that means is we have to serve the business and set it up so that it can also produce the life of our dreams. But what people do is they stop at serving the business. They don't think about what the business is actually supposed to do. We do at the beginning when we decide to make the jump and say, let's go be an entrepreneur because of all those really cool reasons that you wrote up on the chat. I want to have passion. I want to have independence. I want to have control. And then all of a sudden, the passion's gone. I just got to get the work done. The control is gone because the business dictates my tasks and how much time I do. And we've lost sight of what it is for. It's not that you don't have it in your mind. You answered the question on slide number 2. It's that we forget about it and then we let our fears take over. Murmur. That's great. Perfect. Thank you very much. So a little bit of background here. The iceberg. One of my skills is to help individuals understand some of the underlying assumptions that they live by. Typically, those underlying assumptions are unbeknownst to them. Why is that important? Our beliefs shape our worldview. When we hold in our unconscious beliefs that are in opposition to our conscious beliefs, we are trying to dictate the direction from the part of the iceberg that holds less than 10% of the mass of the iceberg. And let me back up. I am sure most every one of you have seen this iceberg analogy in regards to our conscious versus our unconscious, right? So, and if you haven't, this is a simple metaphoric representation of our mind. Our conscious part of our mind, the conscious being that which we are aware of, is that tip of the iceberg right up here. That amounts to about 10% of the iceberg's mass. The unconscious, which is the part of our brain that processes information at lightning speeds, is about 90%. Where the direction of the iceberg is going is not based off of what's going on up here. It's based off of where the mass of the iceberg is. So this conscious part of our brain and unconscious part of our brain. The conscious part of our brain analyzes information at a relatively slow speed in regards to computing power. We could say that the conscious computes at a walking pace, which is roughly 50 bits of information per second. That means all the sight, sound, smells, touches, all of those 5 senses are coming into our system, and we are processing 50 bits of information per second. The unconscious part of our brain is like a fighter jet that processes 11 million bits of information per second. That is crazy to me. The only things that we are aware of are the 50 bits per second that's being processed, yet our unconscious part of our brain is processing 11 million bits per second. Oh my gosh. We think we are controlling the steering wheel of our life. Guys, we have to grab a hold of our brain and understand how it works and how we can start to bring some of the unconscious to the conscious. Otherwise, we just can cross our fingers and hope that this unconscious processing speed is doing what we want it to do. So if you have beliefs that are naturally and beautifully and innocently stored in your unconscious part of your brain, then you can rest assured that those beliefs are the ones that are creating your worldview, and thus your thoughts, and thus your emotional responses and your behaviors and your choices, which result in the actual experience of your life. So if you don't like the results of your life, if they are anything less than ideal, then you can put a bet on it that you have programming that you are running that is counter to all of those wonderful beliefs and dreams and desires and goals. Mind you, this isn't just for business. This is for everything you experience. This is your body image. This is your self-esteem. This is your relationships with your kids and your spouses or spouse, maybe just one, however many you have, whatever it is. Your income, your net worth. The unconscious doesn't know where you are. It just knows the information and it processes that. But for this presentation, we're just going to focus on the business's success and thus your success. Everybody starting to follow the magnitude of the tool that is between our ears? Hopefully so. Fantastic. All right. So first interactive portion. I'd like everybody, if you've got a piece of paper or if you're on your computer so you can open up a Word doc, whatever you want to do. I want you to jot this down. Write down your 3 to 5 business goals for 2024. If you already have them established, fan-freaking-tastic. If you don't, you could probably give a ballpark. Does it want to be 5% more, 10% more? Forrest Jinx, you want to be 50% more because you just grow at astronomical rates? Whatever you want, jot them down. I want them to be real. What are your 2024 business goals? You can type them in the chat too, those that are courageous enough. Let's see what you guys are typing here. Oh, people think my quote is worth quoting. Yay. Okay, everybody got goals? If you are struggling with putting a goal together, clue number 1 that you need to get some support and structure around you. You are trying to sail a ship without any direction. How the heck will you know when you get where you want to go? Because you don't know where you want to go, okay? But you got goals. Fantastic. Julie, would you be open to sharing with me?
Yes.
Fantastic. I called Julie up, just to give background. I called Julie up this morning and saying, hey, I got a couple of spots that I want to process some people. Would you be open? She does not know where this is going. So this is her processing herself. Julie, do a quick little background. Who are you and what are you talking about?
Shit. Hey everybody. Julie Nelson. I own sole proprietor of a consulting business working with emerging brands in the consumer goods and retail space. My 3 business goals, and by the way, I haven't thought about this until like 45 seconds ago. For 2024, my 3 that I wrote down was number 1, work with interesting and nice people and brands, and I get to choose who I work with. 2, learn from those people, brands, and my connections as much as I can learn. And number 3 is a goal of working about 20 hours per week and bringing in 6,000 in gross revenue per week.
6,000 per week, is that what you said?
Yeah, in gross revenue.
Awesome. Awesome. And everybody else have their goals. They've got some type of metrics or numbers. They want X amount of clients. They want X amount of revenue. They want to grow their team to be from 10 to 20 or 20 to 50 or whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask a couple questions, Julie. Stick with me here. Tell me, how did you come to these goals? Why are these your goals?
The first 2 are embedded in my values.
Ooh, nice.
And the third one is a result of me taking time to figure out what I want my life to look like, how I want to spend my time, and what revenue I need to make my life look the way I want it to look.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love this. Julie has been doing workshops on herself for a little while. She's also in my Southern California Conscious Leadership Circle. And I would give you a gold star right now, Julie. Fantastic work. Well done.
Jamie, did you hear that?
Gold star. Gold star.
I'm tracking.
Tomorrow is her Conscious Leadership Circle group. So she gets a gold star before we even begin. Well done. Well done. Okay. Julie, I'm going to go to somebody else too. Fantastic. Forrest. You open to sharing? Okay, unmute yourself. Give me what your top 3 or 3 to 5 goals are.
We're kicking off a new fund this month, so we want to have at least 20 million in the fund by March 31st, 50 million by the end of the year. Be operational cash flow positive, and have all our portfolio properties be cash flow positive, and have our new management company be cash flow positive.
What was the last one?
Have our new management company be cash flow positive.
Got it. Fantastic. And how did you come to these numbers? Are these based off of last year's numbers, or why did they move why are they 20 million in the fund and then 50 by the end? Cash flow positive this, cash flow positive that.
Well, as it turns out, being cash flow positive is quite helpful for running a business. And our business is strange in that we don't try to maximize profit. We try to maximize balance sheet growth, but to do so, we need to stay in business. So that's the cash flow positive part.
Okay.
The fund, we have to get to 20 million to really make it worthwhile to do all the work. Before that, our real goal is 100 million, which is like a total BHAG. So 50s. If we get to 50, it'll be a huge win for the company.
Okay.
And to have a huge win for the company means I'm getting uncomfortable, which is kind of why I'm in business at this point.
To get uncomfortable. I like it. Okay. So I think these are good answers. I like it. That makes sense to me. Everybody, as much as you don't know exactly what his business is, he's got his answers. He's got his rationalization and his reasons, right? They make sense. They make logical sense. And I'm sure all of you have whatever your numbers are, and they make logical sense. Last year was this. This is what I want this year. This is what my team could do, whatever that is. And if some of you don't have these goals, maybe you need to define them. That's great. We can get there in separate conversations. Part of what I do in investigating is trying to understand the mindset behind why people are answering the way that they answer. Everybody is expressing their beliefs all the time with the clothes you pick, with the phrases you use, with the gestures you make, with the communications you do or do not make. All of them are expressing our beliefs. So when I ask the question of what are our business goals, and we have these goals of learn from brands $6,000 a week, go from 20 million in funds to 50 million by the end, cash flow positive. I think those are all wonderful business goals. But what I see that they all lack, and I'm sure that many of us feel are on the same page here, even though we only heard two, is that it forgets to ask, we forget to respond and think about what the business is doing for us. Yes, I said, what are the business goals? But we have to remember, our business is the vehicle which brings the best chances of us creating and living the life of our dreams. If we are just coming up with business goals, I need this many more employees onboarded, I need this many more clients, I need this much more revenue, we are missing something. You are now serving the business, and that therefore is the goal that you have given to your mind. I serve the business so that I can go get that revenue, I can go get those clients, I can go have this and this and this. So you've now put that into both your conscious and now likely, because it was already given the way that it was answered, it is part of what your unconscious mind is thinking and trying to create. Simply by saying, what were your business goals? I think those numbers are necessary. I think, just like I said before, they give us guidance as to what we need to do. But later, after you are served, some of you may push back on this. I get that. You could say, yeah, if we grew to be this big, we would have a lot more money, so I could make more. I totally get it. I get the logic. And I can tell you, I sit in front of roughly 45 business owners on a monthly basis, and I hear many of them growing their business. And as they grow their business, they are suffering more. Whether that is financially, personally, whether that is emotionally, whether that is relationally, if that is a word, physically, because of the stress or the lack of attention they have on their health. If we saw the business as a vehicle for our life goals, we would answer with what it needs to produce for us first. Make sense? If you have that first, everything else is in support of it. If you put the business growth as its primary, then we are hoping after we dish out everything else that there is some scraps left for me. Some of us that have very prosperous thinking probably aren't on this call or on this webinar because they don't have a thought around them serving the business or not. It serves them. It's natural in their unconscious to think that way. But if this title of this webinar and masterclass resonated with you, then there's something that's going on inside of you where you are suffering from the relationship dynamic you have with the business because you've put the business as the first and foremost. It's the primary goal, and everything, including you, needs to serve that. And I want to flip that on its head. So here's a simple equation. I call it the lifestyle equation. Pretend X. Guys, I only had to do one math class because I studied psychology and religious studies, okay? So I'm going to make this really freaking simple. But stick with me. X is your lifestyle. All finances go in there. Mortgage, monthly living, your kids' expenses, your kids' future, your savings, your fun, vacations, everything. Let's say that that is X, okay? What this means is that your income or incomes, if you are married, let's say there's two, Your incomes of A and B need to be greater than or equal to X. Your incomes need to be greater than or equal to the lifestyle that you want. Okay? For example, if the lifestyle that I want costs me $350,000 a year, and my spouse makes $80,000 a year, then $80,000 plus my income needs to equal or be greater than $350,000 a year. Therefore, my income needs to be greater than or equal to $270,000 a year. Simple math, right? A plus B has to be greater than or equal to C, in this case, X. That means in this example that my business needs to shoot off to me at least $270,000. You can talk with your CPA and your financial advisor if that is through your salary or through dividends. It doesn't matter, or distributions. It does not matter. That's more of a tax conversation than what we're having here. The business has to produce at least 270,000. How it gets to you, that's a different conversation. If you don't have this kind of simple concept in your mind, you are steering your business without any guidance as to what for. Because again, you're now just serving the business and the business's goals. You're not actually serving whatever the business is supposed to do. And you decided to be in business because you wanted financial independence, freedom, to live my passions, whatever it is, right? So if you don't have this, I implore you, go and build this. Start with big, easy macro numbers. Go get a CPA, get a financial advisor, talk with friends that are financially savvy. Okay? Very good. Next. All right. How much time we got? Am I just chatterboxing around here? Still chatterboxing around here. Thank you, Jimmy. All right. So, our next part. Many of you understand the powerful machine that our mind is. Now that we've talked about the conscious and unconscious, those of you that have been in workshops, wonderful. That's great. It is a goal-oriented machine that simply needs to be given direction and then it manifests. So let's look at our business in another way. Remember, our business is a vehicle for us to create and live the life we want. One method is to financially support us, which we just spoke about. The other is to create more of the emotional fulfillment of what is achievable with being a business owner. Got it? So what I'd like you to do is write down a list of how you would ideally like to feel and how you would ideally like to think about your business. I want this to be believable for you, but also pushing to the edge of what you believe is capable. For example, I have my own limiting beliefs that I don't believe I can feel euphoric and elated at every moment of every day of my business. I personally don't. Is it possible? Maybe. I don't believe that. So I could not put that on what I want to be. This needs to be something believable to you. Those of you that are writing something down that even look at it and say, wow, that's pretty low bar to jump over, but it's pretty much the extent of my believability. You've got yourself a learning agenda right there. But write it down. Okay. Give you a couple moments. All right. Those of you that are done writing, now what I want you to do is write how you feel and how you think about your business and how it is today. These are just examples. I feel burdened by my task list. I don't understand why things are the way that it is. Stress is outweighing the joys 8-1. Some of you may have stopped because you just don't want to keep describing the agony. No, just kidding. All right. You can keep writing if you got more, but I want to take sharing. Jenny, are you open to playing?
Seriously, you picked me for this one?
Yeah, man, this is it. Jenny, give us a 3-sentencer who you are and your business.
My name is Jenny Rosoff. My company is Village Green Foods. We're a wholesale food manufacturer of proprietary products for restaurant chains, which is a lot of gobbledygook. So if you ever go to Wahoo's Fish Taco and eat the Mr. Lee's chili sauce, we make it. We make it for all the Wahoo's locations. That's what we do.
A lot of the soups, sauces, and bases that you guys have in the restaurants around here are probably made by her.
Possibly.
All right.
Possibly.
So, Jenny, give me a bit of how you want it to be. Tell me about how you feel. Tell me about how you think.
I want to feel inspired when I walk in the front door every day.
Beautiful.
I want to, I dream of the day when I walk in and there is not a single fire to put out. A little unrealistic, but I still want it. I would like to think that everything is working at least 90%. Well, I wrote functional, but that's not the word I'm thinking of, but I'm having a brain fart. Anyway, yeah, at least 90% capacity effectively. I would like to know that the people who are there for more than, I'd like to think that at least 25% of the people in the building aren't just there for the paycheck. That they're there for potentially helping to make the business a bigger, better thing than it is.
So at least 25% are there for something more than just the paycheck.
Yeah.
Got it.
And that is actually something that you helped me with a couple of weeks ago. Because I was thinking I need everybody to be on board with whatever program. And you said, yeah, no. If you get 25% or so, that's a good result.
From where you were. Yep.
From where I was. So yeah.
Jenny and I do some coaching if that, just to give some background.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Move yourself over to how is it today?
Today, my relationship with my business is about 90-10 love-hate. Some days it's 50-50.
90 is the love or the hate?
90 is the love.
90 is the love.
90 is the love.
Okay.
And the one that I was just starting to type when Microsoft Word imploded on me was I want to move forward in the mindset that this business is getting out of the me serving the business and even more now of the business serving me. And knowing and accepting that that's okay.
If I walk into your office and I see my quote on the wall, I'd be super happy. That'd be awesome. You can print it right before I walk in. That's totally fine. That's totally
I'll work on that. I'll work on that. Thanks, Lindon.
Okay, good. Anything else? Or that was your last one?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there's a lot of conversation that we could have, and definitely in some of the processing that we do at the business owners retreat and or in the conscious leadership circle, that we can talk about why it is the way that it is. Because our minds are made to recreate what is familiar. So if any of you are starting to experience the same level of stress and worry or feelings of lack or upset regularly, if there is any type of regular feeling you have as you walk in and or just conduct your business, know that there is a good chance, based on psychology, that your unconscious is actually looking to create that. Okay? There is deeper investigation to go in there. I'm not going to go into that today. That's for a different conversation. Hint, hint, business owners retreat. Talk about that later. The conversation I do want to have, did you see that subliminal message? I'm still having it right here. Okay. The conversation I do want to have with you is about the how I want it to be. If you go back, let me rephrase. When you describe your how I want it to be, how believable, I asked you to make it believable, but how believable is that to you to go and create that? And everybody answer for yourself. I just asked you to write your ideal that's believable, but is this like oh, I could take this shot and make the swoosh every time because I am under the basket and I literally just pop it up? Or is this a little bit of Shaq at the free throw and we don't know if we're making this thing or not? Like, where are you in your believability about this? This is where, Jenny, the client participation comes in.
I was just typing, it depends on what day it is.
Very good. Okay. Very good. Probably, I bet a lot of people feel that way, right? It's like, how much did I sleep last night? How well have I been eating? Did I exercise the last couple of days? Is my wife happy or not with me? Okay, I feel good or I don't feel good. I totally get that, right? Which is the way that most of us live. We are governed by outside circumstances as to how our internal experience is. And that is a scary way to live, because now we have to hope that the things that are outside of our control are going to go in the direction that we want. Eek. I don't like placing bets on things that are outside of my control in that way. Okay. Now, are there people, and Jenny, I'm asking you, but I want everybody to think for themselves. Are there other companies that are in your industry? Is what you do so unique that it is not done anywhere else?
In my industry, there are very few companies that do what we do at the level that we do it. Most of them are significantly larger and less flexible.
Very good. Very good. So the short answer is no, we are not completely unique. There is a lot of other organizations that do it. Some smaller, some the same, and many bigger. Yeah? Anybody else feel that way about their business? There are other companies in my industry, some smaller, some the same, probably many bigger. Great. What that tells us is that there is a possibility that you could actually go and create something more. And if we haven't yet created that, I want us to challenge ourselves to understand why. Why have we not created the ideal outcome that we have been seeking or what we have been driving for from when we started the business? I would place a bet, understanding and bringing back what we talked about the computational power of our brain. I would place a bet that what your ideal solicits in an internal reaction to you is fear. This is unknown to you. I'm not saying that it doesn't also create inspiration or drive or passion or desire. I'm not saying that. I'm sure it does. That's why you put it on what I want it to be. But what I also want to acknowledge is that if you have not created this yet, then it is unfamiliar to your mind. And things that are unfamiliar to our mind are seen as a threat. What does that mean? That means your goal is actually a threat to your mind. What the fuck? Do you get the weight of that? The things that I want are actually in opposition to what my mind says is okay. Our brain is saying go left, and our conscious, our unconscious is saying go left, and our conscious is saying go right. Guys, which direction are we gonna go? We're gonna go left. Each of you has your own reasons as to why there is fear. The idea that there is inherent fear in that goal is armchair psychology. That is not going to change your life. You're going to walk out of here understanding, oh, wow, my goal has fear wrapped around it. Okay, well, I guess I should keep just going for it. That's not what's going to change your life. What's going to change your life is to understand the origins of why that fear is there for you. Because that fear is different for Julie than it is for Forrest, than it is for Jenny, and you, Susan, and you, Valerie, and you, Jennifer. It's different for everyone. And it is inherently different for everyone, which also means that our reactions, our worldview, our emotions, our strategic avoidance are all different. And if you are unclear as to all of those, you don't know how to actually drive or steer the boat, the vehicle. Maybe I should keep with my metaphor, Lynn. Come on, not a boat. We're on a car. Know how to actually use the vehicle to get what we want. Oh my gosh, there is so much here. Our brain's computational power, the vehicle we don't even realize is the thing that gets us the means. It's not the end. And our brain is actually fearful of the goals that we put out there. There's a lot of stuff going up against us, which is why people continue to live in the same over and over, year in, year out, again and again. They stay in their rut. They have a belief that they can make their $100,000 or $400,000, and they want more, and they want to create peace and harmony and balance in their life, but they can't. For some reason, they say, for some reason, if I could just get that client, or if I could leverage that a little bit more. That's all external stuff. There are people out in the world, as you just stated, in your industry that have a better, faster, smarter, more profitable business than you. So it's not like you can't do it. That means it's not out there that's stopping you. It's something going on between your ears. And as the Italians say, the fish rots from the head, folks. You're the leader. So there's something going on inside of you that is causing you to stay in the same lane that you're in. It's fear of that goal, and it is also recreating what is familiar to you. Follow me, everybody? Got nods from Julie. Julie is a wonderful workshop participant because she's the one going like this, and she just makes me feel good. I like that. Yeah, even a thumbs up. That's a second gold star for you, Julie. All right, folks. Let me recap because I think I'm rounding out our hour here. I got a little bit more time. So, quick little summary here. Actually, before I jump onto a summary, questions, because I haven't been checking out the chat. Any questions? Anything that I am saying that people agree with? You can stroke my ego, that's wonderful, but disagree with, you want to challenge, I'm also open to that. It's all made up, folks. It's just my observations. What do you see? What do you got? No? I wowed them. Julie.
Fear, yes.
How so? Tell me what you mean.
How I want to feel is competent and helpful and smart. And my unconscious belief about myself is that I am not confident and not smart. And I feel the push and pull between those two.
Beautiful. People relate. There's a push and pull. I have a desire, I have a want. Yeah, go Tina, go Tina. I have a desire and a want. And yet there is some part of me that seems to keep doing the same thing over and over again, just wishing that things would change. It's that internal tug of war. I and my organization want to tip the scales and add a couple of more bodies on the side of that tug of war, on that side of that rope that pulls towards what we want.
Mm.
Cool. Cool. Anybody else before I jump over? Good. Okay. So let me do a quick summary here. In summary, many of the reasons why we decided to get into being a business owner is because we wanted flexibility, we wanted control, we wanted independence. There's all kinds of stuff. You wrote it on the chat. And I think those are beautiful. I think those are noble. I think those are things that you need to remind yourself of, because we forget why we decided to do it. Our business should be seen as the vehicle which brings about the best chances of us creating and living the life of our dreams. It's just the vehicle. We still have to go create it. We could make a bunch of money. We could create our business where we don't work 60 hours a week and instead only work 30 hours a week. There's still more to be had, but boy, if you had the finances that you want and the work balance that you want, the work-life balance that you want, do you think that you could have a better chances and odds of creating the holistic ideal life you want? I think so. I think so. Our goal is to harness the computational power of both our conscious and our unconscious towards our dreams. It is not to negate what the tool is that is inherent and natural to us. Our unconscious is not a problem. It is not a bad thing. Our conscious is not a problem. It is not a bad thing. They're just natural tools doing what they're designed to do. We can also direct and manage our mind to design what we consciously want, not what we unconsciously want. And many of you need to work on your lifestyle equation. Get it simple in your mind so that you can have a primary goal of your business be about you. Do you share this with your staff or not? I don't know. It depends on the company culture that you have, because maybe everybody needs to create that within your organization. What are they all doing this for? They're all going to serve their organization to serve themselves. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what we're all doing, but we're all denying it because we're all just trying to shield our eyes from what is true. Do you not share it? Maybe. I don't know. That's a great conversation that we could debate about in the conscious leadership circle. What do you bring to your staff and what do you not? But for you to have it, to know why you're growing your business, I think is inherent in flipping the equation so that your business serves you. And the last two things are, if you experience a familiar feeling at work and it is less than ideal, then know that there is the mass of the unconscious iceberg that is working to recreate that over and over again. And also that your ideal dream and or goal is probably not being achieved because it has inherent fear and risk or threat to your ego. We need to understand that and own that and understand how our story falls into that. Make sense, everybody? Nods. Cool. Right on. All right. So with this was the beginning. This was the appetizer to a conversation. Next year in March, on March 14th through 17th, we are having the Business Owners Retreat. It is in beautiful Paso Robles, California. The idea of this retreat, the intent of the retreat, is to take this conversation and have the full entree and dessert. Maybe CLC is the dessert. I don't know, CLC people, you could say if that's the dessert. But the idea, oh, by the way, shout out to Julie, Jamie, and Roger for being in CLC. Fantastic. The idea is that we are going to work with other business owners and take it out of this theory that we're talking about and grasp it at an individual level. So we are going to talk about what your lifestyle is that you want, and therefore what the business needs to do, and what the unconscious beliefs are that are driving your business and your leadership and what you believe you are capable of. We need to do that and start to disarm the threat as well of what your ideal goals and dreams have inherent and woven into them. We're going to do that through that 4 days up in Paso Robles next year. With that, I also want to acknowledge that I'm taking over an hour of time of a handful of business owners, and I know that all of our time is valuable. If anybody wants to have a one-on-one coaching call, I will give that to you for free. All you have to do is email me. That's my email, lindona@productivelearning.com, and you can have one free coaching call, and we can take the conversation that we just had right here in the theory, and we can see if we want to apply it, if that's where you want to go. I'm also open to going to other areas as well, but that is just given to you, but you have to email me. Those of you that decide to sign up for the business owners retreat, you can also have a secondary bonus gift. 3 additional coaching calls for free, all valued at $700. So that'd be 4 coaching calls. All you have to do right now is email me. Just email me saying I'm interested, or I'm curious, or I don't understand, or I want to go a little bit deeper, and we will have our one conversation. And if that leads to you deciding to step into the business owners retreat, fantastic. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. There's other things that you can step into, and or you can get your free coaching call. And that is just because I want to take this and keep it out of theory, and I want to go do some more application. So with that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining today. Fantastic job. Thank you to our participants, Julie, Forrest, and Jenny. And shout out to our CLC members that are here. I'll see SoCal tomorrow. Good job, everybody.
Lyndon, do you want to speak to Caesar's comment in the chat?
Ooh, Caesar's comment in the chat. Sure. Got to find Caesar's comment. Let me read it out loud. I think we become overwhelmed by the fact that we can look at our life and easily point out all the flaws and issues on a larger scale to why we are not accountable for our decisions. I think great point. We have a responsibility to our goals to look at the next steps to organize and focus on laying down a foundation for habits that lead to better results before we take on the longer vision of our life. Wonderful concept. I think that's a great idea. Does that work for you? Am I missing the question in here? Or is it more just a statement? Caesar.
It was just a statement. It was mostly just to kind of give some perspective, I think, on the bigger picture, because I think of like the sum of our lives is literally it's microcosms, like in the way that we experience our life day to day, what our world looks like. And if our decision making is to organize ourselves more and to take care of the tasks that we don't want to do, because, hey, it's hard to get up in the morning early and make things right in our home before we go out to work, then we start to recognize that it's like, hey, you have to be willing to put in that effort first for yourself so that you have the ability to do the best for the work.
Yeah, I think I follow and I agree. There is a lot to say about creating at least a starting point that creates the opportunity for something more. And if we're not even doing that, boy, we are creating a very steep uphill climb, and life can be challenging and difficult. So why make it that much steeper? So I agree with you. I think there's a good foundation of habits that, if created, give us the better opportunity. I'm with you, Caesar. Other thoughts and questions? Anything about our business owners retreat? Copy paste that email address. Send me an email. Let's just have a coaching call, and we'll take it all the way. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week. For some of you, I will see you tomorrow in our Conscious Leadership Circle.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lindon.
Bye.